Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah!
Hurrah! Get some. What's going on, everybody? Well, welcome to the field op, and it's going to be a really good show today. But before we get started, just like I say each week when we start out the show, is that hey, my thoughts and opinions sometimes may not align with with Switch Radio, Airtable, and all the folks that support this podcast, as well as or my thoughts and opinions won't align with my guests or even you, the listener. So we can either agree to disagree. This is freedom of speech, and that's one thing that I fought for while I served in the Marine Corps for over 21 years. So you can either stick around or move on and listen to something else. But if you like what you hear, then stick around, and we'll talk about things. My guest for today, it's Aaron Chief Seibert. He would have been here right now. I think he may be having a little bit of technical difficulties. He has been, as some of you may know, Aaron is he's an expat. He's been living in the Ukraine for quite some time now, going on about a year and a half, 2 years. And we all know that the current situation is going over there, political instability, as well as basically that there may be a conflict happening between the Ukraine and Russia, and even the U.S. is even talking about getting involved. He would have been here right now to talk about those things, as well as other things. But I think he may be having a little bit of technical difficulties. He's doing fine. For those of you who know Aaron and are concerned about Aaron, I have been communicating with him, as well as the director of the show. We've been communicating with him on WhatsApp, as well as on messengers from the folks of Warrior Built, and he's good. He's safe. He's sound. Him and his family are okay. They are, they just left the town where they were currently living earlier today, this morning, to just because that town was a little closer to the border. So they just said, just in case, they just went ahead and pushed up north. I think they may be making their way to Poland, to where, they have some friends and family, close friends and family in that area. So if he does happen to jump on, we'll go ahead and bring him into the fold and switch gears and talk about his current situation and the things that he's dealing over there. But with that being said, the original premise of the show was we're going to talk about health, well-being, and different alternative ways to take care of yourself, especially for those of us who have been in combat, or you've had trauma before the service or after, because trauma is trauma, and while some of us may process different, and we respond differently. You've heard me mention on some of my conversations with Aaron that you could be sitting in the same foxhole or fighting hole with two individuals could be there. One is looking to their left lateral limits, and the other one could be looking to right lateral limits. On the left, things could be pretty much going haywire, broken arrow type situation, enemy coming down, crossing the lines. Basically, hell in a handbasket is being handed to you. Whereas, that individual on the right, everything is fine. Nothing but unicorns and rainbows. It's because we're all different. We all process things different. Some of us, can handle trauma. It maybe affect you more and more severe than that other individual. So, a lot of us, and I hear a lot of vets talking at times, oh, well, it, I think the common denominator, and again, you've heard me say this before, some of you might disagree with me. Well, the VA doesn't help, or, they don't do this. Now, I can't necessarily speak uh, and put that label across the line um, on the VA. However, the times that I've asked for the help and where they've sent me has been pretty good. Yes, there may be individuals that or therapists or staff members who should be doing other things other than helping, trying to help veterans, because they're really not. I mean, and we could say that at just about anything, but for the most part, if you utilize the system, because nothing is a marriage, especially when it comes to your health. That's why, when some people they get a diagnosis that they don't like. Yeah, well, I'm going to get a second opinion. Well, same thing. You can go ahead and go get a second opinion, or say, what, uh, I just, this isn't working out. It's not me. It's you. I want another therapist, which was the case for me in around 2019. I was having a lot of issues because a lot of one thing that I did upon retiring from the military, luckily for me, I guess the silver lining, I did have, my demons were catching up with me, my PTSD, and I was suicidal. I had a plan how things were going to happen, um, and luckily I had a friend of mine who's been on the show. He intervened and took me to start me on this path of getting better, getting the therapy, so on and so forth, and taking meds, uh, among other things. But as I was getting the tools and dealing with my things, I guess in a much better, uh, healthier way, uh, as I transitioned into the civilian side, and I got more involved with my new career, doing safety, and which was really interesting. It really piqued my interest, and being the good Marine that I am, or service member. I mean, it's there's we go all out. I mean, we're all in. We're vested. We start next milestone, and that's pretty much what I did, and which became a distraction, so to speak, because my problems were still there. And yeah, maybe I dealt with them, uh, to some degree, and I had already, prior to that, prior to retiring. I mean, pretty much I was, alcohol was my sleep aid, so to speak. I wasn't going to work drunk or none of that stuff, but I was drinking at night. I was drinking just to go to sleep, and I was having anger issues, which I didn't know why, and out in the street, with just people who honked at me, and that would be the boom, the last straw, broke the camel's back, and so I was dealing, I had dealt, to some degree. I barely scratched the surface on how to, my therapies and healthy tools. So, and per the recommendation and of the folks at mental health unit in Camp Pendleton, when it used to be at the old Naval Hospital, I stopped drinking. Uh, I started, and I was on meds and all those things. Moving time forward, as I transitioned out and I got more focused on this career, it just became somewhat of a distraction because I was all about it. But I may not have been drinking, but I guess my old self, to some degree, I was like, okay, well, I'll just deal with these things later on, and I just didn't even think about it. But just like anything, we compartmentalize things, and for whatever reason, we just say, well, it's all good. But let me tell you, for the majority of us, maybe for some of you, it may not be the case, but for a lot of us, that little monster, or that you put in that little cage, it just keeps tapping in that little glass cage. They just tap, ting ting ting. Hey, uh by the way, we're still here. Hey, remember, you still haven't dealt with this all the way. Oh, and let me throw in this trauma that happened to you as a child. Hey, let me throw this other thing that happened while you were when you were deployed, or this tragedy that happened in your personal life. All those things just came back, and pretty much by 2019, I was just, I literally, I was gonna lose my shit for all intents and purposes. I was just like, I can't do this. And luckily at the time, I had learned to ask for help. I had learned to keep my family clued in, my wife and kids, and they saw me. And because a lot of us say, when people, one thing that people that care about you, when they ask, are you okay? And we say, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, we're good. And or how are you doing? I'm okay. For me, I'm saying, I may be saying, hey, I'm all good, but inside I was ripping at the seams. So basically, I've realized, I'm like, okay, I got this monster or these issues going on in my life. I just, I gotta I either have to face it or just basically do something else. And the something else would have been probably, taking that, yeah, over or super extreme alternative, which, you know, that I just could, I've realized over time that because I've already lost a lot of friends, to suicide, that, and not that I still don't struggle with that, because every once in a while that those little voices come back and say, hey, you know what, maybe it's just, it's just one of those things that, but I've learned again to, talk my way through it. So, as I realize, I got to do something. I got to face these demons. So basically, I pinged the VA. I had the support of my wife and my kids. Uh, they came back and basically telling the VA, hey, this is what I got going on. I need assistance. And even the nurse practitioner that she was talking there, she said, look, the whole thing with the meds, it's not a hard sign. It's there's not like, hey, here you go, take this, you're good to go, because the brain is such a complex piece of equipment that we're barely scratching the surface. I mean, hence we've known that human beings, we can only use about 10%. Everything, it just, there's so many things with it that just one pill is not going to make things better, or that may work for you. So that being said, this person said, hey, look, this is not a marriage. It's one of those things that we need to basically keep, communicating, that if this doesn't work for you, give us a call, come back in, we'll try something different. And that's basically what I did. I went back and got on the meds, and started, along with engaging with my therapist and all those things. And along the way, I was like, hey, you know what? These pills aren't working because they make me, I feel like this, and it just, I can't function at work, or I can't do these things. So you have to communicate that with your provider, so that you're able to, find the right dosage, or the right medication that's going to work best for you, so that you can get on the road to a better you. In other words, because meds, it's not just the answer, as I've I've stated a couple of times. They just, because your nerves, your emotions, all these things, they're just so raw and overwhelming at that time. What they do is they're supposed to take the edge off to some degree, so that way you're able to process things and work with that other, with those therapists, whether it's a psychiatrist, a psychologist, whether you're doing cognitive behavioral therapy, all those things. So you're working with these individuals, and then hopefully down the road you're able to, that you're able to move on and not have to use the meds, but still use the tools that these providers have given you or empowered you with, as well as keep talking to uh, those providers, because it's just it it's not going to go away. It's not like somebody is going to wave the magic wand or the magic pill wand and say, hey, you're completely cured for all intents and purposes. No, it's not like that, because the brain excuse me, the brain, think of the brain as just a refractive machine of the past. In other words, what does that mean? And this is just based I'm not a doctor, I'm not a brain doctor or any of that stuff, but this is just on my own research and the things that I've learned as over the years. Your brain is is basically, if it has a trauma, or it has something happens, boom, your brain, bam, takes a photograph of that situation, and then puts it in the back of your brain housing group, and anything similar to that, it's gonna go ahead and come reoccurring. So that's why, and that becomes an experience, a past memory or experience that you're gonna compare. Oh, well, I remember when I was, when this something similar happened. That's going to help you react to that similar situation or that environment, uh, in order for you to, either, we're going to do two things: either fight or flight. So either your lizard brain is going to kick in and you're going to, make stuff happen, or you're just going to pull chalks and, hey, you know what, I'm not even going to deal with this, I'm out. So that's what your brain does. So because of that, um, that's the way we're tuned in. So, and that's why we find ourselves all the time, like, always ruminating, or, for those of us who have dealt with trauma, we're great at ruminating. In other words, we just deal, and then just stuff just plays on that loop, that, and then, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Or once we start going down that path of, us, if when we're having an episode, or we're either anxious or we're getting depressed, we start ruminating. And when we're anxious, from the things that I've read, when you're anxious, you're worrying about the future, or when you're depressed, you're thinking about the past, how things were, how they could have, how, all those things. And or those individuals that your platoon mates, those who made the ultimate sacrifice, you're thinking about them and they're gone. And and by the way, here's an anniversary of one of your buddies that passed away, went on a deployment, those things. So there has to be other ways for us to be able to process things, and how, and in a way, to in a healthier manner. Booze is not gonna fix it. And a lot of us think, oh man, I sleep so much better, after a few shots, or after I'm a good buzz. And again, after going through intensive outpatient program, I learned that no. And I was using a sleep aid, and sometimes I wake up feeling like crap, like, oh my god. Yes, sometimes I may have gotten plowed, but other times, and that was a good fake. You couldn't tell that I've been drinking, but again, I was just, because I just didn't want to have the dreams, and I wanted a full night's sleep, because the next day I had to go to the field, go to work, whatever. So those aren't, we have to find healthier ways. So in 2019, when all these things were happening, one of the things that, shout out to my wife and daughter, both of them had said, hey, why don't you start meditating, or listen to meditations, or listen to something, because I used to dread for those of you who are blessed with California traffic and distance, my commute to work from Temecula all the way down to San Diego could be an hour and a half sometimes, just sitting in traffic. And I used to dread it, because my mind would just, again, I was, ruminating. My mind was just constantly going. And I mean, to the point where I was just like talking to myself, like, oh, hey, what's going on? So one day I just happened to, pop in, because it was a company vehicle. It had Bluetooth. So I was just looking on YouTube, I wasn't physically watching, but I was just something to listen, meditation, something just to get my mind off. Well, I stumbled upon, this um, this individual who is very well known, and I'm not advertising for the guy, but I do follow, a lot of, and I've read some of his books, Mr. Dr. Joe Dispenza, and basically all the things that he had mentioned on that 17-minute video, I was like, oh my God, this is what I do. This is what a lot of service members, a lot of the folks that I've encountered that have, PTSD and trauma. These are a lot of things that it resonated with me, is what I'm trying to say, folks. So basically, I listened to that video 3 times on my drive out to to San Diego. So, but it resonated, and I started searching more, and then about him and the things in his books, as well as other individuals that basically that talk about neuroplasticity, again, your brain, um, and some of them are physicists, and these other things, and a lot of them just said, hey, try meditation, you know, and I was one of those folks that would say, hey, you know what, man, meditation, you're full of shit. Everybody who does it, they're hippies, um, and I'm not going to try that, because that stuff just is just ain't for me. But at that time, I was pretty much desperate, and I needed something. So now, I started, listening to some meditations as I drove. Again, I had a long drive, so I just started Googling and on YouTube, just listening to them. Now, don't think that I was like crossing my feet in my car on my drive, closing my eyes and going umsa or whatever. No, not at all. I mean, first of all, that would be really unsafe, and two, I don't think I would have ever made it to my destination. But I was listening to it, and it just helped calm me down, get my mind off, and basically just bring me back to homeostasis. In other words, to being right there. I wasn't thinking about tomorrow. Oh my God, just I don't want to be here. Or in the past, I miss my friends. I miss this. I wish I could be there. Whatever. It just brought me back to being mindful and in the moment. I wasn't allowing myself to rob me out of the present, and that's what a lot of us we do when we're either you're thinking about the past or or the future. And one of the great things that animals are great at being in the moment. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, there's a gazelle eating grass. Gazelle's chilling, like, oh, hey, I'm just doing what gazelles do, eating grass, looking around, whatever. And then boom, here's a pack of lions, and they're gonna come attack. Well, the gazelle is gonna react to that in the moment. Boom, it's gonna run away, and if the lions didn't catch it and the gazelle, survived the threat or outran the threat, the moment it's done, it's over. That's it. It goes back to eating grass, doing what gazelles do, chilling, whatever. It's back in the moment. But because we're human, we process things a whole lot different. So we're just gonna be, oh my God, that lion just almost got me. Oh, oh my God, and then we're just gonna keep ruminating. Oh, I can't believe this happened. And then your neighbor, oh my God, what happened, bro? Oh, well, you know what? That lion almost got me. And oh my God, are you okay? And then the next person, and each time we tell that story, we're reliving that moment or that danger or that threat as it actually happened. I'm telling you, folks, as it actually happened, because that's what we do. And then for some time now, that one moment, at first, well, people say, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" Well, I'm in a mood. Well, what's the mood? Well, I I'm well, this happened to me, you know 6 months ago. It's like, oh my, and then that person, oh my God, I can't believe you're so lucky. You're lucky to be alive. Blah blah. Hey, what's going on? Are you there?
Пожалуйста. Hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Hey, Francis. Hey, hope you can hear me. I know there's a lot going on. A lot in the
Yeah, man.
background too. Hey, talking about the field op. I'm kind of, I'm kind of in it to win it.
No shit, man. You must be it's like, call for fire, like my intro. Oh,
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 what?
oh, there you
Oh,
are.
there
There
we
you
go.
are. Yeah,
Shoot, I
so
think I need to turn it. Hold on, real quick.
okay.
I'll go out.
Everybody, Chief Seibert has joined us live from the Ukraine. Um, you know, we'll wrap what I was talking about, some other time because this is important. Hey, brother, what's going on, man? So the things that how it's being reported here in the U.S. is pretty much like, oh shit, DEFCON 5, basically. And I know yesterday when we talked, you were getting ready to walk into karaoke. So what happened?
Hey, so as long as everything is working calm wise, it's good to go, right? Um, so I've been a lot of people don't know. I've been here in Ukraine, been doing a lot of stuff. I still do my outreach, help out combat vets left and right. Uh, I got a guy to Camp Hope this week, getting him help. But I've been here in Ukraine doing a lot of really cool stuff. I'm taking the language, Ukrainian language, at a university here. But with everything that's been going on, Ukraine's been under Russia's thumb for a long time. And, Russia has really held back the ability for a free nation to kind of be free. And at this point, freedom is really taking a hit. I look at America's freedoms, I look at a lot of things, and I'll say some of the freedoms that I see here are freer than even in America. But to see that going south because someone decides that the UN is a threat, and just out of curiosity, when was the UN ever a threat to anybody? Because the last time they took over a country was never. And to let someone into the UN and basically give them that blanket protection that we all want, right? We all want the security, but that was taken away. It was taken away at around 5 o'clock this morning or yesterday morning. I got a lot of guys hitting me up saying, "Hey, Chief, what's up, man?" And I looked out the window and everything was calm, cool, and collected. But in a matter of 2 hours, the streets were filled with people. They've really done a really good job of not making everybody panic.
That's good.
Because panic doesn't help anything.
No.
And as much as the U.S. has been saying, "Hey, why do you have so many troops on this border?" And you got Putin over there saying, "Oh, I'm going to do some exercises, and I have no plans to attack." Well, we know that that's not true now. The world knows it, and to basically be able to say to the free countries of America, the free countries of the world, if anybody else interferes, the nuclear option is on the table. I'll tell you something that's different about that and America. We use very strict guidelines as to say, hey, we're not going to strike first. We'll take a punch. Don't fire until fired upon. There's this personal responsibility that America seems to have on their shoulders all the time, that when the bully doesn't want to play in those rules, and the bully's going to make that kind of decision, that's what's going on. So I rolled through the country, and I got to see the country in a really awesome way today. I spent the last 12 hours in a car, and I had a plan, a get out plan, and in fact, it worked. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Hey, you need to leave now. You need to leave now." I don't know, maybe because I went to combat 3 times to Iraq, and I got hit with a mortar round. Maybe my life isn't always that easy to kind of weigh out and say, "Hey, man, um, you need to really be afraid. You need to get out before it gets crazy. Nah, I think in creating chaos, and I've talked about this on my podcast. Yeah, you wait until the stuff hits the fan, and then you're like, "Hey, but I had a plan." And up until then, right? I was like, "Hey, I got my jump bag. I got it all ready. Boom, boom, boom. We're gonna make it happen." The car full of fuel, and I'll tell you that made a huge difference. The car full of fuel, and rolling through and just seeing these lines of cars trying to get fuel, and I'll tell you what, it was a huge caravan today, and I think most of these cars are going to head to Poland. Um, but luckily, we cruised all the way across. I had a plan to make it pretty far west. Stay at a place, staying at a place that appreciates us and just wants to take us in and make it happen. So yeah, I took some photos today. Nothing real serious, I didn't get to see any action. Um, Sumi, where I was, apparently now has fallen to Russia. Sad state, but it's 40 miles from the border. It has resources, fuel, whatever they need to continue rolling through the country if that's what they're going to do. Um, but yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm making it. I'm making it west, and had some chances to hit. It just so happened that the fuel stations that I waited for were probably 4 cars deep, where the
Okay.
rest of them 40 cars deep out onto the road. People just waiting to get it, and it's amazing because they kind of have this setup here. For most cars, you can have like a gas product, which is I think benzene or something like this, and then a gasoline. And so we have both systems, but they all the stations were out of the gas, and so we had to just put gasoline in. Um, but it worked out. It worked out, and we passed a lot of gas stations along the way. They
So
were just
so as far
they were just
so as far
bad.
as the infrastructures go, were the roads like were the roads jam packed or anything like that, or
You know what? I got to tell you, man. You would. I was worried because I know California, like rush hour time. It did even with this going on, man. It was nowhere near that because I'll tell you why. Because again, Russia's been since 1991, and then 2014 when they took Crimea and called it, whatever they called it, and then Donetsk, and um, they're just like, hey, it's separatists. We're not doing anything. Blah blah blah. But every year they come up onto the border and they're like, hey, we're gonna get a little weird. We're gonna cause this kind of like, hey, we're gonna mess with you, right? So of course, since 2014, the grivna has dropped. It's like 28, 29 grivna to the dollar, which is super awesome for me, but really bad for the economy. So they've really kept the economy kind of low. However, I want to say the infrastructure in this country, I've seen it, building better roads, building better towns, working on a whole bunch of different things, and in a very peaceful, motivated way. Uh, maybe trying to grasp that capitalism type of mentality, and and maybe Russia at this point said, "Hey, man, this is too much. You guys are finally getting rich. You got a lot of people on your side. I got to do something about it before it gets too close to me because the UN might attack me. My security is at stake here." Hey, it's okay if you want to say culture's at stake. That's probably a true statement because the Western culture comes over and makes a big deal. But security, no, no. The security that's at stake right now is Ukraine, and their security is shattered. They're in disbelief. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Um, the big bully on the block saying, I'm coming to get my milk handed over, whatever that might be. Um, I'm a lover of life and I'm a lover of freedom, and I'm a lover of quality of life. and I've never really grasped and grabbed a hold of my life more than I have in the last couple of months to the last year. And it's weird. It's like one of those sayings, uh, a good thing will never last forever. And I don't
Well,
know.
nothing,
I don't know.
nothing
You know
ever
what?
does, bro. Nothing ever does, man.
No. But hey, I'm lucky. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on your podcast. Francisco, taking the reins and running with a podcast. The Field Op, and really putting together a great thing through sitchradio.com. With Brian Colburn, running this whole thing, making things happen left and right. But it's an honor to be able to like talk about some things, and being a combat vet, I think my fear factor is not there. It's just kind of like, hey, um, memories are kicking in,
Yeah,
especially at night. Because
yeah,
they declared martial law. And I don't know if you remember, Francisco, when we cruised through Iraq, man, it was so quiet at night, like quiet,
yeah. It was definitely
eerie
at night. Yeah, it was really eerie. It's like,
in the
whoa.
towns,
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like, where the
towns.
fuck did everybody go?
Yeah. So yeah, drumming through a lot of towns tonight. Got pushed back with having to stop and stretch out and do some things. It's like, oh man, and um, so it kind of pushed me into the night pretty far, because over here it's like 12:30 or something, 1 o'clock, 1:30 or something. And I thought it was at 2:30, and then I looked at it. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? But it's actually 1 o'clock. I think you got my time wrong when you told me that. So I was like, oh shoot. And then I hit Brian up. He's like, hey man, we're on right now. Can you get on? So I was like, okay, cool. So I I mean I've taken and recorded some stuff. I sent you some stuff today.
Yeah,
A lot of really cool things. This is a history in the making, obviously, but it's a really sad kind of history. But we'll see. We'll see. I think um, I hope. Um, I think Russia's pretty mad because the sanctions kicked in, so I think they're trying to punish. But at this time, uh, I'm not a big fan of things that really kind of have ownership of a different time. But what Putin has decided to do and to come into this country, some Ukrainians are calling him Putler at this point. That's a really harsh deal, and you think about it, but it's what provoked this? Nothing but the UN security deal. And again, when did the UN ever attack anybody on this planet? Never.
right.
Only to defend. um, so yeah, it's a sensitive thing. It's really
Ha,
too
ha,
bad, but
I know you mentioned briefly that it kind of, it's familiar territory as far as, past experience. And it's a few minutes before you came on, I was talking about how the brain it's like a refractive, it's a large, storage memory bank or just refractive memories of past experiences. And based on those experiences, you're going through something right now, your brain takes boom, it takes a picture or a video of that moment, and it will use it as a reference point with the same situation or something similar to that. And given you being in combat, having been blown up, surviving, you know that those events and that trauma, now you find yourself in familiar territory. And you even say it's like, I'm not even scared. However, is there something, is that voice coming back from when you were out patrolling and things like that, is you're like, oh man, shit, here we go again. Have you had that? What's been going through your head, bro?
yeah, I've had that, and even Operation Security, when you look at it, you like, hey, here comes some military vehicles down the road, and I want to film them, and I want to post them. I want to be like, hey, here's some cool stuff
Yeah.
that's going on. Matter of fact, some tanks were on movement today. Some rockets, probably, some air support rockets that they wanted to keep out of the way for right now because obviously Russia targeted, air defense systems. And so when you look at the tactics of it all, I'm like, oh man, I can't post any of this. I can't, but we got behind some vehicles, man. I was like, wow, these things are pretty old. And, I think once, it's just sad to see like the transmission was really hard on this one, and the other one's like blowing dragon smoke out the sides, But you're right, man. This tactical paralysis, like, hey, I wonder where they're going, how they're going to set up. Hopefully the enemy doesn't detect them until it's too late. Um, you know, Hopefully they got some really good advice to our advisors that were here when they were here, and other things. When you just see all this stuff that needs to be put together. But you're right. The patrolling, the driving, down the road, and then the checkpoints, man. I went through some checkpoints, and I was like, all right, this is cool. I like it. And then you have to go through because they're starting to set up. We're starting to set up some serpentines, just to make it super hard. And then some were some elaborate serpentines, and I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't want to give anything away or do anything, But it was just too. I was like, right on, okay, yeah. And you can put all this stuff together. If you didn't serve, if you don't know combat, you would just look at it like, oh man, I wonder why they're doing that, But me, I was like, okay, I understand this piece and that piece, and you start seeing these National Guard workers or National Guard guys from the area putting it together. The police force is out there kind of directing traffic, ensuring the bridge is safe passage. Because I was worried about getting to the west side of the largest river, and I can't say it out loud. I can't remember how to pronounce that river. But if you follow it all the way up, it goes up to Chernobyl, and obviously Russia took Chernobyl. And why would they want to take Chernobyl? Why? I mean,
I know, right?
Are they gonna poison everybody with nuclear poison? Is that their goal? I mean, I don't know, but it really seems to me like at this point we got a lot more to worry about now than anything before. So you start looking at all these tactics and stuff, and in my mind I get frustrated, but I have to let it go because otherwise my adrenaline rush gets high and goes crazy.
Yeah.
I'll stay on that thing for 60 hours and I'll be super tired. I'll be super exhausted. So I just let it go, But part of me does. The other part of me just kind of stays in it because I just need to. I need to a little bit.
No, and then you brought up some really good points. Two things that I want to touch upon is that as a service member and a tactician, and somebody who's been to combat, you and me both, you start looking at different things like, oh shit, if we take this route, is Russia going to start bombing? Because you automatically, just like we did with Iraq, we went for all the infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, airports, power, all that. You take all that stuff away to slowly chip away at the morale and at the end, at your enemy or your target, so that way they're more easier to comply as you're rolling into through town and stuff. So it's so you have and in a day and to tie it to what I'm about to say, and in a day and age where everybody does this, boom, this shit really easy. Oh my God, Facebook Live. I mean, hell, we're doing it right now. Oh, let me post this. People don't think like that, and I don't. And I hope that the new generation, those guys and gals that took over after you and me, who are 10 years younger, that in the service, it's really easy for to break out your phone without even thinking that, hey, I'm posting this shit, this Facebook Live, and part of combat, because as a former I did we all did additional duties. One of them was anti-terrorism and force protection. And Operation Security, OPSEC, is that it's really easy. And the enemy, even Al Qaeda, they have folks dedicated on a computer just fishing, looking through stuff, posts, Facebook. So it's really easy to find, somebody, hey, say it was you for all intents and purposes. Oh, you're fitting out this Facebook Live, and oh yeah, they got these trucks with missiles and airstrike and this and that. Boom, target fix on that. Boom, they bombed the crap out of that. You happen to be in the near vicinity now, so people don't, I don't think people are wired like that, nowadays, and we don't think that, hey, I'm just gonna put this on Facebook Live. This is really cool, but it's like, hey, dude, you're making yourself a target. You're literally painting the target with a laser. Shit.
Hey, speaking about target, I was like, hey, we got to pass these slow vehicles because they're slow, because this is definitely not something you want to be around.
Yeah, call for fire. Shit.
Right. So, I mean, I realized it. I was like, oh shoot, we want to pass all these things up. Hey, but I know we're probably tapping into time, and you're probably going to get a lot of questions, a lot of feedback on this particular show. I hope. I let the floodgates out on this. This is something that I've been kind of holding back for a long time. It's not something I've really let that many people know that I'm in Ukraine doing a bunch of stuff. And I share my personal life a lot, but this part about it, I didn't. And at this point, I don't have a choice, and I feel like there's a lot of people that are worried about me. I just want you to know, for those of you that are worried about me, hey, I have lived a lifetime of wonderful greatness, and whatever happens to me at this point, just know that whatever bridge I've been on, I don't necessarily say I've burned any bridges. Might have damaged a couple, but I have loved life. I have loved life, and I do love life, and I taste it all the time. I deal with a lot of things in my personal life. I deal with a lot of things in my head. I get to talk to battle buddies all day long. That's what I do. I help out guys that are dealing with the same kind of head problems and going to combat. I'll tell you, it feels kind of enlightening here. And I want to say, as much as everybody might be worried about me, I think part of them are actually envious and they would like to be here too. And I only say that because I know it.
Lock and load, bitches. Chitty bang bang, motherfucker.
I'll tell you what, man, even part of me was ready to go to the line and help out. But I'm like, nah, man, I'm too jacked up. My ankle, my shrapnel, all my stuff, my limp, I have a problem. Man, it's like crazy. But there's part of me that gets that sick feeling. And we get it. We got it. We deal with it. But it's an honor to be on your show, brother. And whatever else you need. Hey, thanks for hitting me up. Thanks for even inviting me. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but I've been rolling.
No apologies, brother.
Day.
You've been doing the Motor T thing, throughout the day. So we appreciate you, man. And get to your destination. I'll stay in touch. Like we always do, and I'll check up on you. And know that if you need anything from me, and I'm sure that if you start popping red smoke, I know there's about 30, 40 guys easily who'll be on a bird, fucking, just. Under silkies with war belts, H harnesses, M16 A1 rifles, and just silkies and boots, and about to do some really, really, really bad, shitty damage. You know what I mean? So,
that's so true, and only a few people can even understand this. So, hey, man, it's good.
Fucking silkies, man, no shirts.
I love it.
But all right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for your time. Semper Fi, my friend. Thanks for your service, and hey, be safe out there. Thanks a lot, and God bless you and Godspeed, man. Strength and honor.
Hey, this is Aaron Seibert, retired Navy Chief, signing off. Strength and honor. Thanks for being
Take care,
on.
brother.
Thanks for letting me be on your show, brother.
No, likewise. I'll talk to you later, man. Well, everybody, as I mentioned earlier, we I was doing this conversation about alternative health and well-being would have been really great with Chief, but I think he had some really good information to pass, and he shared, he opened up his house and himself to us on this current situation with the Ukraine. So we'll wrap up whatever I said, what I was talking about earlier at another episode. But if you're struggling with suicide or you're having thoughts and you don't know what to do, please reach out to me, reach out to anybody, because we just don't want you to be part of the 22 or a statistic, because your life matters, everybody. If you got a little bit of moment in time, please say a quick little prayer. Keep Chief in mind, as well as those folks in that country, and hopefully that this conflict gets resolved, sooner than later. With that being said, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and index right here, and hoorah! I am out of here. Strength and honor. Hurrah! Get some.